I wasn't sure whether we had started or not. Happy Stitch Along Friday. It is another Friday in September. It's actually September 19th already, and I know that this is very commonly said. I can't believe it's already the 19th. I've heard this so many times this September. I think there's so much going on, and people are overwhelmed and enthusiastic and trying to keep a head above water, all sorts of things. So I know that September is always a very busy month, particularly for people who have children that are going back to school, or if you have teenagers, or I shouldn't say teenagers, young adults going to university or college. I mean, there's so many things, and then things start to settle down a little bit until we get Halloween, and then we have Thanksgiving earlier before Halloween. Then you have Halloween and Thanksgiving after that, and then there's Christmas. So there's plenty of wonderful holidays up ahead. But in the meantime, we're all getting back to our winter kind of pursuits. Things like stitching are part of that. Anyway, I want to make sure that I see everyone, so I have to always refresh now. I know this for a fact. I didn't realize it before, but I do now, that I have to refresh so that I can actually see if there's anyone here. I see one viewer, 3 viewers. This is starting to be good. It always is quite a lag between the time that I start talking and people come on board, because you have to fiddle around with your phone or you have to get on board on your computer. So it always takes a few minutes. So I kind of fill in the gap with a few little things that have nothing to do with stitching. Oh, good morning, Sheila Marchant Short. I'm so glad to have you here. It's so nice to have you here. I don't know whether I've actually had you here before, so I'm very thrilled. Thank you so much for saying hello. That always makes a difference because I know you're here. Thanks, Sheila. I hope that you enjoy yourself for this little next half hour. It looks like Lisa Webb is here. Happy Friday to you. Thank you so much. I find that most people who come say hello and then they tell me where they're from or what kind of weather you have. And I know it sounds really funny, but because there are so many people from all over the States, Canada, and North America, and now also in other parts of the world, in Australia and New Zealand and in the UK, people who speak English mainly because it's easier to interact with everyone. So I find it really fun to see what the temperature is everywhere. We, of course, say ours in Celsius, and our temperature is around 15, but it's going to go up to about 20 here in lovely little Victoria, British Columbia. On the west coast, we haven't had rain, except for last weekend. We had rain. The day that I went over to Vancouver to visit my daughter, it was raining. It was the only day. All the rest of the time we've had either a little bit cloudy. We did get some forest fire detritus from BC and Washington State. All of the ash fell on my car, so I had to go and wash it. Other than that, we haven't had any major weather events. So let's see, Deanne Cataldi, how nice, what a nice name too. Hi from Louisiana, great smile, thank you. Marty, hello, nice to see you again. And Gracie, hello from Nebraska, hello. Lisa, you're there, that's good. I know you're usually first, but Lisa, who is my, my coworker, my cohort, my partner in crime, the one who keeps me sane in this business. Lisa has had an accident to her right wrist, and this is her dominant hand. So typing is not as fast. Sending out parcels is not going to be quite as fast. Her husband, Bob, is going to be helping her, she said. So this is good. And how is your wrist today? Is it a little sore? I bet it is. And she's had a cast put on and it is broken. So she has the full 6 weeks to go. But I think this is your second week after getting a cast, I believe. So you're past your first week at least, right? You're now into your second week. Good morning. Let's see who else is here. Nancy Bretting. Hello. Good afternoon to you, because I know you're in the afternoon already. Sheila, you live in Souk. Oh, okay. And formerly you were living right near where I am. I am just south of Sydney, by the, where you would recognize is by the McDonald's and the White Spot, that corner. I keep forgetting the name of that street, actually. Mount Newton? I can't remember. I think it's Mount Newton. Anyway, it's really nice to have you here, Sheila. Keep keep coming, okay? It'll be really nice to have you join in. Donna Granger, hello from Berkeley. Nice to see you. Louise Fossa, hello. Tammy, good afternoon to you also. Leslie Ayers, good Saturday morning. I know it's so strange, isn't it? When you're in Saturday and I'm just in Friday morning and you're on Saturday morning, it just always baffles me. When I had that trip to Australia, it got me. I thought, okay, so what is it? What is it that you have to go and look at one of those websites that tell you what time it is somewhere else. Hello, Linda Morrison and Tedra. Hello from Phoenix, where the mornings are getting nice. How wonderful. Exactly. Autumn will arrive after your very hot summer, I'm sure. Sheila, yes, Mount Newton Cross. You're right. I figured you'd know it since you lived around here, and I'm glad you're living in Souk, and Souk is a beautiful spot. I know several people who live there. Lisa said it's not as sore this morning, her wrist. It's got a pink cast. Thank goodness, I'll say. It certainly does take extra time to do everything with your left hand. I bet you're becoming almost ambidextrous by now, since it's been a few weeks since you've had the injury. Falling on your patio does nobody any good. So from now on, one must pick up one's feet. I went for a walk this morning in Dean Park. I go up to the top of Dean Park and I walk around in the forest, and it's a good 20-minute fast walk, and so I go around twice. And then and it's also up and down. It's a little bit hilly. It's really a great walk. There's hardly ever anybody there. I keep my radio on to scare away any stray cougars that might be hanging around, because there are some down here, and they do kind of like things like that for us, so I'm careful. But that's such a wonderful place to walk, and the reason I mentioned it was I can't remember. Is because I love going for walks. I don't know. It is sunny and warm out, and that's one of the nice things about here. It's like really nice, cool in the morning and nice and warm in the afternoon. I think it was because of Tedra. Autumn will come. Oh, I wish I could say yes, exactly. I know. So I have noticed that there's been a little bit of activity on our website. I've changed some of the website things around, and we do have our ability to send out kits is now guaranteed, but it may not be until next week that we actually send it out. But by all means, you are now able to order these again. We had them off our website for a while. They were there, but they weren't obvious, and so now you can see these again. This is the kit. Sorry, the kit for the floral biscornu. So we had a few orders yesterday after I changed the website around, and so we're going to have to make sure that we get those right. And once we get those right, I know that all the other kits will go out no problem. As far as I know, shouldn't be any duty on ours, mainly because we will probably be sending them out without needles so that there's no steel involved. And also we will be sending them out under the CUSMA rules, which are the Canadian, let's see, I think it's the Canadian-U.S. trade agreement anyway. And so that's still in effect. So that's good. Let's see. Is there nobody else is saying anything, so that's fine. I also wanted to mention that in Facebook, which is where you're getting this live stream from, in our Facebook group, there is a photo at the top, and I change them once in a while for relevant pictures. And I noticed the last time that it was the photo was quite fuzzy. But the actual photo is not fuzzy. I know this for a fact. Like, I'm careful with, dots per inch and that kind of thing. So I noticed that the photo was fuzzy. So I changed it, and I put our 3 Halloween samplers in there. And that also turned out fuzzy, although I know the photo was the right dots per inch. So I'm going to have to check with Facebook itself, because it makes no sense that big photo should be fuzzy. And it's big on my computer because I have large monitors. They're 21 inches and there's 2 of them. And when I do my work, I have to be able to see everything. And when I see the fuzzy photo, I just get really mad. I make really nice, very, clear photos, and then they have to go and do that. That doesn't make me happy. You can't really see it when it's on your phone or even on your tablet. It doesn't really make much difference. But when you get onto a rather large monitor, you really notice. So I mentioned that, and Louise says, yes, I noticed it's fuzzy, so it's not just me. Let's see, who else is there? Hello, Joe. Very nice to see you. Great to be here as always. I'm so happy that people come and join in. It's so much fun. Marty says, would be nice if you could release the Bling 3 kit before our fearless leader changes his mind again. Yeah, I don't think that he can change his mind on this one. This is a legal thing, so cross our fingers. I'm also waiting for October 14th, which is when I think the Supreme Court decision about tariffs goes into effect, or else gets whipped out by the Supreme Court. So we'll see. We'll see about that. And Marcia Buckingham says, good morning from Dallas. Hello. Good to see you. So I do want to give some shout outs to my new friend Hillary, who has gone, and she says she lives in the shadow of Butchart Gardens. She just went to started stitching the Butchart Gardens design that I did, let's see, I designed it in probably 93, if I'm not mistaken. I did some cross stitches of this area before I started doing samplers. And when I was doing that, it's all mostly tourist crowd, and I would package them up with their DMC and some Ada, and I packaged them up that way so that people didn't get overwhelmed with linen and all like that. So I had them in a plastic bags, and I remember using the library photocopy machine to be able to photocopy the cardstock that went in it, where I would paste a photograph in an area that I had outlined. You'll laugh at this. It's no longer necessary, but I did all this by hand. I know I did all the graph by hand with a rapidograph pen, which is what architects use. And everything was extremely slow, but so much fun. I started doing that when I turned 40. And I thought, oh, well, if I can do a little cross-stitch design, maybe I can put them into a shop. And I never forgotten the very first shop that I put them in was downtown Victoria. And she was just a little cross-stitch shop out of the way, somewhere on Wharf Street. And I went back, or I phoned a couple of times, because of course there was no texting. And I asked, had they sold yet? And I had given her two small ones and one large one. That's all I had. So she finally phoned me after 6 months, and then it was summertime, so the tourists started coming. She said, no, it was after 3 months, I think. It wasn't as long as 6 months. Anyway, she said, I sold one. And that was so exciting. I've never forgotten it. Then I started making more, things, and Butchart Gardens was one of them. And it was a large one. I used a photograph behind some plastic graph paper. It was clear plastic with graph paper on top. So I drew it on the graph paper on top, and then I transferred that to a actual paper graph, and that's what I stitched it from to make the model. So the Butchart Gardens has a very long history, long time. I would say 95, probably, no, maybe 94 or 95, somewhere in there. And so, Hillary, if you're still stitching this, I am so gratified. I can't tell you. It's so much fun to know that this, one of my first things that I ever did is still being stitched today. The other thing is, Marty, your sugar plum in red and gold is stupendous. It is really beautiful. It's like it's going to have all this drama around it. So I'm really glad that you're doing it in those colors. I can hardly wait to see the next thing for sure. And of course, Gabor, I have to compliment you on your book of what you call bookmarks, which are, in my opinion, samplers, but they're sampler bookmarks to you, which is fine. And he's made all these crazy quilt book leaves, and then made a band across and stick these bookmarks in there, and it's all creative. It's all fun. The colors are fun. He's having more fun doing the pages of the book, I think, than almost all the stitching that he was doing. So it's great fun for us to see. He's included 2 summer gardens, Noah's garden, the seaside garden, And I think that he is just about getting to some of the other gardens. And speaking of gardens, I do want to recommend this one. And it's not one that gets an awful lot of press, I don't know, talking about. But this is one of the gardens I know he's going to be showing us, or has already shown us. And that starts with this at the top. This is called Desert Garden. And I have to say, I remember living in Arizona, and I thought that maybe, I'm not sure whether it's something that suits Phoenix there, Tedra, but this is a sampler that I did thinking about when I went to Phoenix. And it was because my parents-in-law lived there as, what do you call them? As snowbirds for a while. And so I remember going down there and seeing the desert. Of course, I got a coyote there howling at the moon, but anyway, and the iguana on the roadside. And then at the bottom is the desert garden. And there's you, Tedra, watering your desert garden, okay, behind the adobe wall. And I wanted to show this to people because you come from all over, and there are very many places where there is desert now. And I thought, don't forget this garden. This little garden actually has a lot of cute little details in it, and it does look really cute when you live in that area. It's one of those things. Or you can give it to someone. You can stitch it up and give it to someone who lives there. I thought particularly Tedra would be interested because maybe she has a friend. And Tedra, oh, you have that one. Oh, okay. Well, you might want to stitch it for yourself or for a friend. It doesn't take any time at all, but that's not my point in showing this. I show this because there are other people who live in the desert, and they may not have seen this, and I love it so much. And it was not shown in Gabor's book yet, so I thought, I'll show that so that people know that it's there too. Tammy, good photo layout of the finishing bling tree. My goodness. You know what I really liked is you had the Aliens gold bottle sitting right there. You had the what do you call it, brush? The spongy brush that Lisa uses also. You had, I think, the cutout board. You had already done one part that was now glued down already on 3 sides, as I recall. And you are finishing the bling tree too, which honestly, I think you're going to do such a great job. I can hardly wait to see the next progress picture or the finished picture. Tammy, well done. I love that photograph. It shows everything in dynamic form. Even though it's only a photograph, it almost feels like a video. So thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. Joe says, will Bling 3 be available as a PDF also? Not right away, but it will be probably by the end of next year. Yeah. Or probably by mid next year. I'm not quite sure when, but certainly not right away because we have all these kits first and they are going to be sent out first. Okay, Joe, thank you. Marsha, good morning from Dallas. I don't know if I said hello yet, but hello. I think I did. Yes, I did. I remember now. And finally, I want to mention Carla's beautiful morning glories. And the reason I want to mention it is because she included a picture of her own morning glories, which are like this deep purpley blue that it's almost hard to reproduce. And Carla, you, if you're listening to this, she did a wonderful job. The photograph and the stitching that she did, she got the color as close as possible. I'm really impressed. That was a leap, and I really love it because the result is great, just great. I also want to mention that I was at Butchart Gardens with my friend yesterday morning. We went at 9 a.m. just when it opens, just so it would be not so busy. And of course, it's cool by that time. At that time, was about 14 degrees Celsius, but it was sunny and it was unbelievable. The gardens are probably at their very best right this minute. They've been growing all summer. They get lots of water and food. So whatever they've planted that's aiming for blossoming at this time is at its full flower. They've got dahlias that are like starburst. They're huge. And they've got the little button ones, and they're everywhere, all over the garden. There were surprises there that I'd never seen before. Some kind of a tree-like thing that had blossoms that hung down like this. I don't know if you can see, they're white, big blossoms about this long, and the bee has to crawl all the way up it to in order to probably get at whatever it's looking for. But they are hanging all over this tree. They're beautiful, and there was one plant in particular, and underneath the leaves you could see these. They're kind of like red and yellow. They look like little waxy things, and they are, I think, a kind of flower for this particular plant. Very tropical. Never seen it before. It reminded me of, if it was all yellow, it would have looked like those candies, the candy corn. About that same shape, a little bigger, and then the color was red and yellow. Oh, they were just amazing, and they were everywhere, dotted throughout everywhere. The fountain was sparkling in the sunshine, and we have this huge fountain in Butchart Gardens. Those of you who've never been there, you can almost not imagine it. You stand on a bluff looking out into a valley, a rather large valley, and this is all still part of the gardens. And in there is a pool that collects. It's just natural. It's a natural pool with a spring, I believe. And they have put a fountain in there that goes up higher than anything that you see in Las Vegas. It's just really high. And then it does all sorts of performances. Now, with the mist down below, of course, because it was cool. It was amazing. Very beautiful. All sorts of things were lovely. And of course, then you have to go shopping, right? In their garden shop. Anyway, we had a wonderful time. I did want to mention it because the Butchart Gardens that I saw just made me really remember how lucky we are to have this kind of garden that we can go to. Okay, geez, that was a long story. I don't know why that came out, but I guess it's something that I had to tell you. So the other thing that I would really like to inquire about from all of you, if you have any kind of idea about, we're all stitchers, and so we're talking about stitching. And the idea that I had in mind was, has anyone ever thought of creating your own design or designing something yourself right from scratch? The only reason I ask is because I love having my designs then change into whatever kind of design you want. I mean, I've seen it over and over, and I encourage it constantly because I love to see other people have the fun that I have and not worry about what people think of it. That's the main thing, or what you yourself think of it. And I was curious. You can answer this as I'm talking about other things if you like. I'd love to, if anyone has had any kind of idea. I'd like to start something from scratch. I just don't know how to start. And does the idea of having a course that would start you off, at least, give you some inclination towards doing that, even if it's just small. It doesn't have to be like a large sampler about your whole life, nothing like that, although it could turn out like that. I do remember the first time I started doing something of my own was when I was 12 or 13 or so, and I just started stitching. It didn't occur to me that you had to have a pattern at that time. I mean, I was younger then, and later I really felt that I should have a pattern, but at the time I just thought, I'm going to just do some stitching. And to me, that was the fun. It was not having to think about a pattern, but to do all the stitches that I wanted when I wanted. So I was just curious if other people have had those thoughts. Joe says, I did a couple of my own patterns from scratch designs. One was a beaded garden. Look at you. This is so awesome. I think that when you have that kind of fun, it's hard to go back to following a pattern, although patterns can be, how can I put it, a very, there's a word that starts with an I, where you feel very inspired. That's the word. They can be very inspirational. They can start you off, right? They can make you kind of feel like, I could do this, but I'd want to change a lot, so I'm going to start from scratch. And Gracie says, I'm trying to learn how to change colors a little. Well done. And I'm trying to design a fall circular pattern, your own design, gotcha. And you've been encouraging your kind words of venture out in this. I'm so happy to hear that. And I think that it doesn't matter who you are. If you approach this as an adult who should know better, that's not the right way. Go in as a child and feel like you can do whatever you want. Even if it's circular, good. Keep it circular. You know what your limits are. Then you can just do whatever you want in that circle. I think that's a fall circle, so you're going to have a lot of leaves. I imagine you're going to have. I imagine you will have maybe some fall flowers in there as well. Let's see what kind of fall flowers. Oh, for sure, the dahlias would be fall flowers. Even sunflowers are, but they're pretty big. They're kind of dominant. Let's see, berries, or you can have berries in your fall sampler. I think that your idea of changing colors is the first step. It really is, because we all get intimidated by various different colors, but that you have started creating, and I'm not sure if it's already being stitched, but if you've already started the form and on a napkin, if you start the circle on a napkin and you go, I want this there and I want that there, that's the first step. And one of the great ways that you can design is with coloring pencils and a large sheet of graph paper. It's so simple. You can just draw, and then you can use that drawing on the graph paper to kind of start you off in the right direction. And I'm not sure if you've done that or not. Is that something that you've done, or have you got a program on your computer? Because some people are so adept at computer work. Let's see who else has done things. So Gracie, well done. Donna, I've done some original ribbon embroidery. Have you? Oh, I'd love to see that. My grandchildren have done original service embroidery. I bet they have. Well, you used to teach your grandchildren all the time. Not sure about now, Donna, but I'm pretty sure that they had a wonderful teacher in you. You're very encouraging yourself. I'd love to see your original. Send it to me privately, though, not on the group. If you have a picture. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. I don't mean that you have to. It's just I'm interested. Marcia says, mostly the things I have designed myself were a small project to teach at the EGA chapter, but that's a start, right? That's already, you're putting yourself out there in front of other people. That's not easy. I have designed a small Hardanger tree, nice, Easter egg on perforated paper, and small needlepoint stocking using all the darning patterns. Those all sound absolutely fabulous, and they are maybe to you, maybe they are very precious. I would imagine they are. Anything that you do that is on your own, that makes you feel like I'm trying it and I think I can do it, and I did. And Marcia, you are also part of your EGA group, so I imagine that that's encouraged in the guild. Have I got that right? That's the Embroiderers Guild of America. Anyway, well done. Congratulations for doing that much. Mary Tobin says, oh, shoot, I turned in too late to hear about Blinktree 3. Can anybody update me? I would love to say that it's going to be out this week. Unfortunately, Lisa, no, this isn't the only reason, but Lisa's right arm and hand have been impacted, and she was really sore over this last week. Doing more work for the purposes of releasing it this weekend was just not to be done. And Petra also has got a cold, and she needs to be part of it as well, as far as making some nice advertisements and things like that. So we all decided we're not going to pressure the two people who are not feeling that well. And I was happy too, because we want to be sure that you're all going to be safe when you order our kits. So they will be released. It will be released next week. So thank you so much for asking, Mary Tobin, and it will be released next week. I think no matter what, we do want to release it, believe me. And we also want to release the Christmas drum pincushion. Gracie says, I don't know how to do a program on a computer. First, I drew an artwork in colored pencils, yes. And then I'm stitching it to make sure it looks like my artwork. I'm sure there's an easier way, but it's something new to try. Exactly. And the fact that you're willing to try is actually unusual. The majority of people would prefer to work from something that they know is going to be good ahead of time, or at least they've already approved and it's going to turn exactly out the way they have approved their choice. So to do something of your own, it does take a little bit of courage, and it also takes a little bit of confidence. And many of us, when we get older, we're hard on ourselves, and we don't have the same kind of confidence that we had when we were kids, and we could just do anything and try anything. So have a childlike mind and enjoy your inventions. So sorry about Lisa and Petra. Thank you. You're welcome. I think I have enough to stitch for a minute. Yes, but you don't want to lose out on this one, because the actual kits, there are limited amounts. So I know that we didn't buy too many because we weren't sure about the tariffs, frankly. So we were going to order more, and we decided not to, just in case. Anyway, this was great. I'm really glad to getting these answers from you. It sounds as though this is something that some of you are really keen to do. Some of you are kind of on the fence. You'd rather be stitching on something that you're kind of sure of. I'm not sure. But make sure that with the blossoms or the free patterns that you have, keep changing things to suit yourself or to make it more personal. Add something that makes it so that it feels like it's yours, and that will add to your enjoyment, not take away. Tammy says, I'll be looking forward to ordering Bling Tree 3. Yay! I know we're all sorry for Lisa and Petra too now, but she's just got a cold, so thank goodness. She was worried it might be COVID, but it's not, so thank goodness for that. I do want to make sure that I don't forget the angel card, because it looks like, yep, it is. Marty says, my work in progress for this month is to complete the designs on my scroll frame so I can start new projects. It's very good. So do that in the next week, and then you can, week 2, 2 weeks, and then you'll be able to stitch one of the 2 kits that are coming out. Joe, oh good, me too. Oh great. Marty says, no free scroll bars. I get it. You gotta free one up. Okay, in the meantime, while I was talking, I was picking out a angel card. So here it is. Oh, there we go. It's actually very appropriate. It says, be patient with yourself. So if you're thinking, here, let's see if we can get it to focus. Come on now. And no, it doesn't want to focus on this. There we go. Be patient with yourself. And the reason I say it like that is because it's just what I was talking about. Be patient with the way that you do anything inventive. Try not to get hard on yourself, because what you think is bad is only very often it's bad because we criticize ourselves and our efforts. Whereas other people, we think that whatever they're doing is much better than anything we could do. And that goes for me too. So I get it. I certainly have that with regard to stitching. I don't feel like I stitch well enough. I feel like my backs are bad. I feel like my designs are, limited. I feel like I write badly. All the things that I've been told I do fairly well. Those are the things that I feel the most insecure about. So if you're like me, just do it anyway. It's not going to hurt. It's actually just going to make you feel good to have overcome yet another one of those things that we try to overcome in our lives. It's a way to enjoy our creativity. Perfect card, I agree. And you have to be patient with your arm, Lisa, okay? Anyway, lots of love to all of you, and thank you so much for hanging in and saying hello to me. Much appreciated. I know there may be a few more people here that didn't say anything, and I never mind that. I'm just glad you're here. Okay, so have a wonderful weekend, and also an absolutely fabulous week ahead, and we'll cross our fingers for the 2 kits, the Christmas kits, the Bling Tree 3 and the Christmas drum pin cushion. Okay, so we'll see you next week on Friday, and get ready, set,